inspection.
The home inspection, the dreaded home inspection.
It is dreaded.
Our least favorite part of the real estate process. We have discussed this before.
Well, you know what? I'm going to change my mind about that. For me, it's the appraisal.
Why?
As a seller?
As a listing agent? Really?
Yeah. Because, I love appraisers, but some of their math is funny, man.
You just got one bad one recently.
Yeah, but
it worked out for you. Calm down. All right, let's get...
Okay.
What's up, people?
What's up?
It's Thursday.
Thursday.
I almost said Wednesday again.
That's right. You had so much fun.
You think we'd be able to keep track of the days, considering we're doing this all in one day.
And we haven't.
Do you think anybody's ever noticed we do all these in one day?
I think everybody notices. Today we're talking about negotiating still in our series. Today we're negotiating the home inspection.
Yes.
Okay.
How to negotiate a home inspection.
From the buyer side.
From the buyer side.
Because I feel like this is where...
I'm just going to keep repeating to add gravity to what you're saying. Yeah.
This is where buyers...
Buyers.
Yeah, I think lose their...
Lose This is where they don't lose. This is where the dramatics come out.
It comes at
This is where I watch too much television.
It gets out of control.
My dad said this.
Yeah.
My buddy said this, and Google said this. Right. This is where people just they lose their minds.
They lose their minds.
Right.
The electrical outlet's loose, and I googled it, and now WebMD says I have cancer.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Just back up for a minute.
Right.
And pay attention.
Right.
Because you're about to learn
some.
So you should be focusing on the larger issues with the house, the things that you know will cost you money in the long run.
Or the dangerous things.
Right, yeah. The roof, the plumbing, electrical, structural issues.
Right.
The big things that your home inspector has pointed out, and you've talked to them about it, and they've said that these are the things that I would be concerned about if I were buying a house. What happens then is we put everything on a list and we send it to the sellers. It's part of the negotiating back and forth. We are still negotiating the contract of sale.
Right.
So if you throw a bunch of stuff on there and half of it's stupid, the sellers technically aren't obligated to fix anything.
No. There's no rule that states the sellers have to fix anything.
Right, they don't have to. Right. So we've sent them a few serious repairs and a bunch of dumb repairs, and now we're telling the sellers, we want all of this.
Right.
You're putting the sellers in a tough spot because if they don't fix everything, they know that the buyer has the right to terminate.
Right.
If they do fix everything, they've just spent a bunch of money and done a lot of stupid stuff that really isn't important.
Right.
So you're putting them in a tough spot. They can pick and choose, but also they know, again, that if they don't fix everything, then you can terminate it. So they pick and choose and they send you back the list.
Right.
If they don't fix everything, or if you've just offended them, and because you sent 48 things to do and they just say no, now you as the buyer have to make a tough decision.
Right.
Well, they're not fixing anything.
And that's what you want to avoid from the negotiation standpoint. You don't want to be pushed into a corner to make that tough decision as a buyer.
Because they're negotiating back.
Right.
They're taking what you said as we want everything or else.
Right, yeah.
So they're coming back and saying, you're getting nothing. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, especially in a market like this.
Yeah.
When,
I'm going to get an offer tomorrow.
Look, if a house goes on the market and within 48 hours you have it under contract, the reason is that it will go under contract very quickly again. So if you're putting this laundry list of things out for inspection, and 80 to 90% of them are just fodder. I think there's this thing that buyers think that I'll add a few fluff items on there because it'll make it seem as
we're
if
giving.
We're giving them to me. Yeah. That's never how it's interpreted. They see 18 items and they're just going, what the hell? And keep in mind, these sellers may have lived in this house for 10 years and they're going, what are you talking about? That outlet has been loose. The door's been crooked when I bought the house. Nobody cares. These are it's a used house. They're maintenance items. So, as Mark was saying, you don't want to be pushed into that hard corner of now deciding, oh crap, they're not fixing anything.
Hardball, sounds great.
Yeah.
It rarely works.
It never works.
Because you're going to get it turned right back on you, and all of a sudden you're going to be the one without a house, and the seller's going to be under contract with somebody else tomorrow.
Right. All negotiations, even though they are separate, they are linked.
Yeah. You
just put a house under super quick, great. Now you want to play hardball in the inspection?
Sorry.
Doesn't matter. They're going to put it back on the market and it's going to go under contract again.
Yeah.
Can we switch to the seller?
Yeah, well, I just that you said they are all linked.
Right.
This isn't the last thing you have to talk to the sellers about.
Yeah.
You still have to do an appraisal.
Right.
What if the appraisal comes back undervalued?
Right.
And now you've just pissed them off.
Right.
And we're undervalued by $1,000. Do you think they're going to lower the price?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So that's it.
And so from the seller point of view, again, it's a lot, right? So understanding the addendum really well is crucial. So buyer gives you a list, you aren't obligated to fix anything. But if the buyer gives you a long list of 20 items, if you elect to only fix 19 of those, the buyer technically can walk away.
Right.
So on a long list, if they're being ridiculous, yes, I understand all that. But on a short list, sometimes the seller just has to eat it because it's just safer to do all the repairs and to keep the buyer in, even though you might not like it. But if they're actual repairs and they're not the big deal, just do them anyway because it keeps the buyer in the contract.
Yeah.
The other thing is understanding a credit, right? So that you can opt to give a credit, or at least offer a credit, I should say. But there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way. You can't just, if there's 5 repairs on it, you can't just arbitrarily say, I'll give you a $2,000 credit.
Right.
The right way to do it is to get contractors out, get some quotes, get multiple quotes, show the quote along with the credit so it is a dollar for dollar exchange.
Yeah.
And usually you're given a credit because it's just easier.
Sure.
Just easier to give the buyer the credit for the repairs as opposed to going through the exercise of having the contractors fix stuff. Maybe you have little kids, you're in a rush to move.
And even now with coronavirus, maybe you don't want a plumber, a contractor, or an electrician walking through your house. Here's 3 quotes, here's the money.
Right.
You do it.
So to wrap it up on the negotiation of a home inspection, buyer side, be reasonable and understand if you're not, the seller is 100% not going to be reasonable in the end, and you're going to be pushed into a tough corner.
Right.
On the seller side, understanding the addendum that if you don't do all the repairs, the buyer can walk away. So if they are being reasonable, answer that with being reasonable as well.
Sure.
All right?
Yeah.
And then we'll see you tomorrow.
Great.
For the last video in our fantastic series of how to negotiate something. Bye.